Hey everybody, welcome back to It's Not You, It's Me. And we're at the office today. I kind of wanted to just have a little chat. I have been recovering from pneumonia, so I still have like a little bit of a cough, a little bit of phlegm going, and I'm gonna finish the last bit of my food as I talk, so don't mind me. In case you wanted to know what I'm eating jerk chicken, coconut rice, and plantains with mango salsa. It's pretty fucking good. And I'm drinking a Vietnamese coffee, which is pretty dope. So today I thought we could do a little Reddit reading, and we shall go to the Am I the Asshole page. We haven't done an Am I the Asshole in a good minute. So let's see what we can get. This one, we're gonna do this one just because the title caught my eye. This one's from Milk the Algorithm. Am I the asshole for making my sister's gender reveal cake gray because she wouldn't tell me the gender? If you're in charge of making a gender reveal cake, how are you supposed to make the cake if you don't know the gender? Confused. I, 22 male, bake as a hobby, and I'm actually pretty good at it. Like, I get paid under the table for weddings and baby showers, kind of good. Okay. My sister is pregnant and wanted me to make the cake for her gender reveal. Cool, no problem. I asked her to send me the info so I could prep the inside classic pink or blue filling. She says, oh no, I want to be surprised too. Just make it neutral for the reveal and we'll find out together. Okay, so you're just baking a cake, basically. It's just a cake. I was like, huh, so you want a gender reveal cake with no gender revealed? She says she'll have someone email the info to me later. Which, okay, so that's what you're supposed to do in a gender reveal anyways. If the parents don't want to know, you usually have a third party provide that information to the baker or whoever. Sorry. That someone never did. Deadline comes and I still have no gender. So I make the cake. It's gray inside, just full on cement vibes. I even added little fondant clouds for effect. It still tasted great, but visually grim as hell. So when I think neutral, I don't think gray. I can't tell you the last time I ever saw a cake, I think never, that had a gray sponge for the inside. That's wild. The reveal day comes, they cut into it. My sister looks pissed. Her husband is confused. People start murmuring. Then she pulls me aside, like, why did you make it gray? That's so passive aggressive. Calmly reminded her that no one told me the gender. I literally had no data to work with. I told her I wasn't about to guess or go full improv on someone's baby cake. Now my mom says I embarrassed her in front of the family and that I should have tried harder to do what summon the gender through vibes, not through the vibes. So am I the asshole for making the most neutral reveal cake in history? I'm going to read the edit in just a second. Listen, I might have to take her side a little bit here and say it kind of is passive aggressive. Probably not the way he meant it to, but I could see how one on the outside would feel that way. Because gray? It could have been a yellow cake. I mean, you had to go out of your way to dye the sponge gray. You could have just left it as like a vanilla cake, chocolate cake, a yellow cake. You could have left it at anything if you weren't gonna do a pink or blue, you know? You went out of your way to dye it gray. And neutral, by the way, neutral colors are things like brown, yellow, green. Like all of those colors could fit into any category, you know? I don't necessarily think you're not an asshole for making something that you had no information about, but gray is really specific. Edit. I actually did follow up, asked her a couple days before the reveal if the info had been sent, and she just said something like, yeah, someone's taking care of it, figured it was handled. I didn't want to pester her since she seemed chill about it at the time. I mean, if someone was in charge, to me, it sounds like no one was in charge. If I'm being completely honest with you, it doesn't sound like anybody was in charge. It sounds like she was saying someone was in charge, but it sounds like she didn't care if the cake had blue or pink, like if it revealed a gender. It doesn't seem like that at all. I think she just wanted you to bake her a cake for the gender reveal, not because it was going to have the gender reveal. I could be reading that wrong, but that's my assumption. But to reach out and try to confirm, like, you did the right thing. So, I mean, you did what you could. Again, though, gray is really specific. See what they had to say. I'm confused. Did you not take the opportunity to message as the date was coming closer? Oh, we clarified that already. Someone else said, you're the one making the cake. If you can't do it because you don't have the relevant information, that's on you. Be pushy or cancel the job. Come on now. At least you could have made the cake white instead of gray. That was passive aggressive. That's a hot take. It's a hot take because I disagree. This is his sister. I wouldn't be pushy either. You're either going to tell me or you're not, to be honest. He's not getting paid for it. He's not a professional. This isn't like a friend or someone random that he's like, again, getting paid to do this for. This is his sister. So if like my sibling reached out to me and was like, hey, can you bake me a cake? I have zero information about it. I would just be like, sure, I'll bake you a fucking cake and bake you a cake. And if you didn't like it, I would be like, reference our earlier information about how you provided no information. So the gray is what I'm stuck on. You literally could have left it like a plain vanilla cake. Somebody said that the person above about with that particular comment was that they had the wrong answer. The gray was a little passive aggressive, but sis wouldn't have liked my choice either. My favorite color is bright red. Don't think a bright red iced velvet cake would have gone over either. I mean, choices, but she said to keep it neutral, and white and or a yellow cake is neutral. So that you didn't have to purposefully dye it gray. That is passive aggressive, in my opinion. Let's see what else we got. Hey, I need to bake this now, and no one sent me any. Excuse me, no one sent me anything. I need the info where you're getting genderless cake or not cake at all. Your choice. It's not that hard to use your words. Yeah. So if it came down to it and you still had not been provided information, that's definitely what I would have done. I would have reached out and been like, hey, no one has provided me any information about this cake. You're just getting a cake. There's not going to be any specifics to this cake. It's just going to be a cake. And if she was like, that's not what I asked for, then I'd be like, then I need the information. I'm not a mind reader. You know what I mean? It's true. Use your words. Somebody else said, what do you mean you figured it was handled? You are the only person at the end of the line that needs the information and you didn't have it. You knew it wasn't handled. LMAO. This is true. You definitely knew it was not handled. We're gonna leave it there because that's like, as in regards to like, are you the asshole? I mean, kind of. We're gonna say yeah. We're gonna say yeah, you're definitely the asshole. Sorry, not sorry. Let's see. Sorry, I have to do this one because this is intriguing again to me. Am I the asshole for blowing up at my sister for naming her daughter after a fungal infection? What are we talking about here? So my 20 male sister, 27 female, and her husband. That was weird. I thought the camera stopped recording for a second, which is fine. So my 20 male, sister, 27 female, and her husband had been struggling a lot with baby names. She was determined to find the single perfect name. Chill the fuck out. What's going on? What's up? You good? My camera freaking out. Even by the time of her baby shower, nearly 5 weeks before the due date, she didn't. Sorry, I just want to make sure everything's good because what in the world? She didn't. I lost my place. Seem any closer to picking something out than she was at the start of her pregnancy. Anyway, I knew she was struggling, so in addition to the $900 wooden crib on her list that I got for her, I gave her a list of, obviously, joke baby names. We have a really close relationship and it was in line with both our sense of humor. She's a nurse and I'm a biology student, so all the names were medications, infections, unpleasant animals, etc. That all sound like lovely girl names out of context. Some of them were a little obscure, sure, but I included some obvious ones like Viagra and hernia for good measure. Stop. That's crazy. 2 weeks later, she told me she and her husband had finally settled on a name. Malacesia? I have no idea if I pronounced that right. The baby's name is Malacesia, one of the names on my joke list. Outside of the immediate issue, nearly impossible to pronounce on the first try, the ass smack dab in the middle of it. Malacea. I think I might have said it right. One that my sister and I both genetically predisposed to. One that we've both had multiple times throughout our lives. Her daughter will almost certainly catch it at some time. I pointed it out to her and she said that yes, she knew what it meant and she knew my list was intended to be a joke, but she really liked the way it sounded. I don't think the husband knows what it means. I think he'd reject it if he did. She says that it's so obscure that no one will ever think twice about it, except, when little baby Malacea turns 14, finds a weird spot on her neck and goes on her phone to Google what it is. I told her that the name was completely unacceptable and I was shocked that she chose it. I even suggested some similar names like Mallory, Azalea, or Anastasia. That would be more acceptable, but she wouldn't hear it. She said that since I'm not one of the parents, I have no business telling her what she can and cannot name her child, and that I'm stepping way out of line. I think that's pregnancy hormones, and she'll regret the decision very soon after her daughter is born. That is entirely possible that she may regret it. The good news is you can change. It's difficult once your child is born to change their name, but you can change the name. It's her kid, though. You literally can't tell her what to name her kid or what she can and cannot change, name her kid. So yeah, you're kind of the asshole. You've done your part. You've provided your 2 cents that she didn't ask for, but she ultimately, it doesn't matter, right? Because it's not your kid. So it's not your kid. So yeah, for pushing and even the 2 cents, providing your 2 cents. I do this with my sibling all the time. I'll be like, this is my 2 cents, even though you didn't ask for it. But you provide your 2 cents and you don't push on it. You don't say things like, you can't do this. Like, that's not how this works, especially if it's about a kid and it's not your kid. Like, it's not your place, not your monkey, not your circus. Let's see what people have to say. Not the asshole. I share your frustration. You're looking out for your niece while your sister is right. It's her parental right. You're not stepping out of line, your family, and you're cautioning her. Reminds me of a girl in my class back in elementary school with whom? The question, whom? Had a unique name, Spontaneous. That was her name. I don't know when we started naming kids anything and everything. Okay. Spontaneous. We were all fine with it until 6th grade when that was one of the words we were taught. You can imagine that what chaos ensued for that poor girl. Also, Malacea sounds like a Disney villain. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Question, would the hospital allow that name? I know people choose unique names for children, but could you really name your child Chlamydia? That's not considered emotional abuse. Hospitals can't stop that, just FYI. What you put on the birth certificate is not up to the hospital. And also, obviously, because if they were someone, I am sure someone has probably named their child Chlamydia. I have no doubt. As crazy as that is, I believe someone has probably done that. They don't take things into consideration like emotional abuse. The baby was just born. No emotional abuse has occurred yet. You know what I mean? There's just potential for emotional abuse. But the problem is you cannot confirm that. Someone else said, someone was talking about another name. It's technically a real name. That's so funny. In Germany, we don't have legally banned names, but you have to follow rules for it. The name isn't allowed to harm the child's well-being or be offensive, ridiculous. It's the task of the registry office to make sure of that. Well, unfortunately, we're not Germany. So pretty much anything goes here. And that's because Americans like to preach on their rights as Americans. Whether or not it will harm the child, I don't disagree with the rules of Germany per se. I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, that gives them a little bit too much control over what they might deem emotionally abusive for somebody. Here in Denmark, every name is forbidden unless it's on a really long list of approved names or you apply for your wished name or spelling to be approved. Holy shit, that's excessive. I disagree with that. That's excessive. Wow, that's crazy. Someone explained, I'm going to read it because this is for all you people out there who are grammar nerds like me. Since you were wondering, it's who. Who is a subject, performs the action, and whom is an object, receives the action. Just for you guys. Facts. Someone's like, you're my favorite internet user today. And somebody said, not the asshole. Make sure your brother-in-law knows what the name means and how the kid will get teased as soon as anyone finds out about it. Sometimes pregnant women aren't thinking very clearly when they name their kids. I'm surprised at some of these people being like, not the asshole just because it's a shit name. The problem is like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. But I'm sure with a little bit of a Google search, you know, of course I would find out what that is. Everybody likes to know what their name means. Like in high school, I had an AP biology teacher who asked everybody, you know, he goes, all right, we're going to go down the list. I'm going to tell you exactly like what your last name means and what the origin's from. Could you imagine? So instead I knew kids named, shut the fuck up, rigor mortis, spelled R-I-G-G-A-A, excuse me, try it again, R-I-G-G-A-M-O-R-T-U-S, rigor mortis. Y'all need to take a seat and stop doing this to your kids. What's wrong with you? Like, you thought that was cute for rigor mortis, just spelled differently for your child? I don't care if you think it's funny, it's morbid, and that's wrong. Someone spelled October. A-W-K-T-O-B-E-R. Just October. Just say it. Just fucking October. Just fucking do it. Like, what? Somebody else said, not the asshole, just tell the husband what it means, he'll shut it down. Not the asshole, I agree with this. Tell him so he can veto it. Also, how is your sister not thinking about the embarrassment that is going to come with this name? The doctors at every baby appointment will know. I wouldn't be surprised if doctors and nurses giggle when they see her chart, and when she's in school, kids will likely find out what her name means and bully her. Tell your sister to think about her daughter's future. She's thinking too much about her feelings and not thinking about her daughter who would have to live with that name. All of this is fair. Ultimately, this doesn't necessarily mean this person that's like, just because this is your sister and you're trying to prevent her from making a mistake, doesn't change the fact that, in my opinion, you're an asshole, because it's the pushing. It's the pushing attitude about, you can't name your child this. Like, it's not up to you. You don't have to like it. None of us like it, you know, but it's not up to you. So in my opinion, you are the asshole, but it looks like Reddit said that she was not the asshole. We're going to go on this one. This is something I have experience with when I was growing up. Even now as an adult, if my mom is left in my house alone, like when she visits and stuff, she does have a tendency to do this. So like, my mom likes to go through our stuff. I don't know what she thinks she's like gonna find, what she's looking for, but she has done this since I was a kid. She's like gone through our stuff. Like, yes, like snooping. Am I the asshole for leaving my mom's house after she went through my stuff without permission? And they did determine this one. I, 18 male, I went to the store to pick up laundry detergent and returned home to see things in my room weren't where they were, including my locked safe that only I had access to being open. I came out of my room and my mom was holding my dab pen, legal for my age in my state, and a fake ID I had while I was in college, and was furious. She was yelling at me and cornering me in my room, so when she went outside to smoke, I packed my bag with a few set of clothes and left. I am now living with my dad halfway across the state. Now things get complicated. When you're 16, my mom set up a custodial account under my name that I could use for my direct deposit for my job. If you're not familiar with custodial account, it's a bank account that both you and your parents have access to. Yeah. It's like a joint account. Yes. However, the adult is not legally allowed to mess with the funds in the account. That is typically correct. I also have experience with this. When I left, my mom transferred all of my money out of the account. I called her out on this and she responded bluntly, saying things like, I only did it to get you to pull your head out of your ass. And if you had any sense, you'd know my intentions with your money. You'd know my intentions with your money. I have not seen the money since. She has brought the account into overdraft and refuses to put the money back unless I come back to her house to get a check. I refused to pick up a check and requested the money be put back in the saving account so I could transfer it out myself and close the account. She refuses. Am I the asshole for leaving? Well, no, that's weird. You're not the asshole for leaving. I don't even think that's what she's saying. It seems like a control thing. My mom likes to exhibit control over all things. It is what it is, right? When you have a parent that, Mom, I love you, by the way. We're good now. Just, you don't always agree with your parents about a lot of things. The thing about it is like, when you have a parent that, because see, at 18, she relinquished that kind of control for the most part. The snooping, she still does that. Again, I don't know what she's looking for. She's not going to find a dab pen, but It's a control thing at the end of the day. Like, she wants to be able to maintain some level of control. She's holding the money over your head so you can come back home. It's really what it is. Why she wants you to come back home. It's not even like she's asking you to just come back home. She's asking you to come back home to get a check. It sounds to me like a couple things are happening here. She says that she wants you to like realize that. First of all, I don't understand what she said by if you had any sense, you'd know my intentions with your money. To me, that sounds like she has a plan for the money, maybe. Like she had intended, but she only did it after you left the house. So that's why in the one regard, I'm like, it sounds like she has plans for the money. But on the other hand, it also sounds like because she waited till you were out of the house, it was like in retaliation. So she's trying to hold it over your head. It's really difficult to get a read because this is like bare minimum information. It sounds like, okay, so like there were circumstances where like my mom with my sibling, she would make ultimatums, right? For example, like he had to go to college or he had to pay rent. She wasn't going to charge him rent to live in her house as long as he was going to school. If he decided to go to school, she had no problem with that, but then he had to go and start paying her rent in order to continue living in her house. He's a grown adult. He's currently turning 24 this year. So it's fair in my opinion. But stuff like that, you know, it sounds like your mom might have maybe told you something and you're not telling us what that something was because you didn't even think it was relevant. And now she's using that because she told you she was going to do it. You know, very little with moms like this are they going to do something that unpredictable. I have a feeling she probably mentioned something at some point and you just either thought it was irrelevant or you didn't believe her. That's your choice. But I don't think you're an asshole for leaving. I think that's within your right. You're 18 years old. You're an adult. Be free. As for the money, I get you. If you've been working and that's the main account that your money goes to, then like, yeah, she needs to give you your money back. But also like, why is it in overdraft? I like that. Is it because it's a savings or a checking? Because you said it's a savings account. So it shouldn't be an overdraft. Why is it an overdraft? Unless it's an overdraft because they were trying to charge you fees. I don't know. Not enough information here, but you're not the asshole for leaving, for sure. But seems like you might be leaving something out. And let's see what Reddit has to say. Not the asshole, call the bank or go down there. Tell them the money was fraudulently withdrawn. Consider telling your mom that you're going to file a complaint. Tell her you can put the money back while you're filing it to make the complaint go away. Stand your ground, but live your life right too. Your parents will be there when you need them, but they no longer have the ability to demand your obedience. That being said, you didn't exactly move out. You just bounced to the other parent. Burning the bridge may have some undesirable side effects going forward. You may need that bridge to be rebuilt at some point. Hopefully you worked it out with her by then. The odds of the bank actually being able to do anything regarding the fraudulently transferred funds are very small, mostly because you're young and they'll do everything they can to dissuade you from filing a complaint. Most notably, they will imply but never say that you can't file a complaint. Nothing we can do is not the same as you can't file a complaint. And of course, you can file a complaint with the bank. Googling how to do that while in the presence of the person patronizing you at the bank might be a way to convince them to at least let you file the complaint, lol. Alternately, you could send dad to pick up the check, tell her you're coming, send dad, but try to get the discussion in writing. Sure. I feel like getting the bank involved, I mean, that takes time and it might be more trouble than it's worth. So I think the idea of sending dad is probably a good idea. I think I like that. It looks like the OP responded to this comment. My mom has my dad trespassed from her property, so he can't legally show up there. I've thought about getting a police escort, feels dramatic, to the property under the circumstances of me feeling unsafe to do so alone. I've never been in contact with the bank, but since the account is under her name as well, they claim they can't do anything, but filing a complaint is a great idea. Thank you. You feel unsafe? This is there's no supporting context for that whatsoever. You just feel unsafe? You're omitting a lot of stuff that might be useful here, but okay. Do you? It's your personal information. I mean, someone said, you said the adult is not supposed to be able to do anything with the money. How is her being able to withdraw the money at a whim? An adult not being able to touch it, use that in your complaint. Yeah. Let's see. Someone asked, have you considered that your mother might have placed a camera in your room to capture the safe number? The OP said, considering the latch mechanism was broken, I don't think she did. She destroyed it in order to open it. It must have been one of those like cheap safes, you know? One of those like cheap safes. Is your personal property, you technically, yes, can file a police report. Someone said, not the asshole. If the adult is not legally allowed to touch the money, then you need to go down to the bank, tell them what happened, and demand that they give you your money back. This is fraud and or theft. Your mother is abusive and manipulative. The fact that you might that you think you might be an asshole for leaving a place where you are being abused is very concerning. Please try to talk to a professional at some point if you can, because I think this is an indication of a much deeper issue. OP said, my mom has always been manipulative. There's a lot of family things that happen between her, my dad, me, and my brother, including promises that one day we'd get a choice of whom we wanted to live with. When we brought that up again when I was 16, she had my dad trespass from her property and blocked his number on mine and my brother's phones without us knowing. Somebody asked, do you still have the pay stubs from when your deposits were made showing? I love how there's just a bunch of questions and advice. Not really a lot of people saying like whether or not this person's the asshole or anything. They're not the asshole for leaving though. At 18, you don't really know too much about life. Some advice can be warranted, but I wonder what dad's opinion about this is. This is a really interesting thing. Ooh, let's do this one. Am I the asshole for telling my dad I won't be choosing sides? I, 32 female, in no contact with my dad, 56, for years. I didn't like his behavior when he got married to his last wife, late 40s. She was very domineering, treated herself and my sisters, Rose, 30, and half sister Allie, 22, very strictly. We couldn't communicate. Well, let's try that again. We couldn't have any communication apps, no Snapchat, Insta, Facebook, WhatsApp on our phones. Our phones had to be available 24/7 for them to go through on demand. We couldn't have contact information for any boys, and our phones had to be synced up to the family group so they would be able to see all our conversations. Sorry, my throat is dry. We grew up a good portion of our teenage years with them being married. However, we lived with our mom because we hated the way the wife treated us. Rose stayed in that house longer than I did. The wife came with two younger stepsisters, 28, 25, who Rose grew close with. I care about them, but we're adults now and have separate lives. I literally live across the world from anyone except Rose, who came with me. Anytime we tried to have our dad see our side, it always turned into a screaming match, which ended with him picking her side and calling us ungrateful. So back to the point, they're divorcing. I reached out to tell him I'm sorry for what he's going through. What is he going through? Wait a minute, what? What is he going through? I'm confused. He said he wants me to treat them like it never happened. He keeps referring to the other party as them including my step-siblings, and wants us to go back to us, as in Rose, my two younger half-sisters, Ellie and Leanne, 29, who we found out about it in our 20s. Wait, what? You're providing too much random information. You got to be a little bit more clear. You're telling me you have two younger half-sisters that you just found out about? What? I said I'm not taking sides because I care about my step-sibs, and did he have them out of like, I care about my step-sibs, and as an adult, it feels stupid to ignore a whole section of my life just because he's hurt over this divorce. Oh, they're getting divorced. You gotta say that. I mean, we're not gonna just make assumptions. He said that he's my dad and it'll hurt him. I had to go back and make sure I wasn't, I had to. You didn't say that, by the way. He said that he's my dad and it'll hurt him if I keep in contact with them because of how they treated him. I told him I won't be contacting him much if this is how he's going to react by making my own decisions. I told Rose that she can do whatever she wants. Relevant info. Yes, my dad was kind of a hoe. Rose is the only one who has the same mom as me. Leanne and Allie have different moms. So in total, he's got 4 biological children between 3 baby mamas. So Leanne and Allie are the same age, but they don't have the same mom. Because they're both 29, I just assumed that they were twins. They're not. There's 3 different moms in this scenario. Okay. What's the question? Are you the asshole for telling your dad you won't be choosing side? Not really, no. If you're close with your step siblings, but not your stepmom, I don't see the problem. You're not close with the stepmom. You're close with your step siblings. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. I mean, you can be friends with them. You know what I mean? And, the other 2, you just found out about them, right? So, I mean, oh, well, not just. You found out about them like 10 years ago. So, I mean, I don't know how close you are with them. I mean, do you even have any contact with them at all? Like, do you guys talk? Are you close? Anything? It doesn't seem like it. So, I mean, what's the point? I mean, you're not, I think to go no contact, I mean, if your dad's toxic or whatever, then yeah, do what you got to do. But you're not at fault for wanting to stay in contact with your step siblings to make that demand just because he feels like he's being wronged in some way. I mean, that's totally on him, right? Someone said, not the asshole. Your dad's problematic relationship doesn't affect your relationship with your siblings, half siblings, and step siblings, and any other kind of siblings that may be out there. The realest shit. You've been no contact with him for years. You shouldn't be too hard. I think they meant shouldn't be too hard to stay that way. Although it was big of you to reach out and express your sorrow for what he's going through. He probably took it as, now that last wife is gone, everything is magically better. I know that's not how life works. OP said he has apologized for his actions, but did a lot of blaming on the wife, saying she would hold their relationship and dangle separation over his head all the time. Now, I don't know how much of this is true, but I do know she served him with divorce papers. It's probably very true. If I were to wager a guess, I would probably say that that's probably true. However, it doesn't excuse his behavior. A decent father would have been like, there's the door. Why? Because you're his kid. I've always been of a mind that the kids come first. And there are people out there that don't always agree. Sometimes they put their relationships above their kids. It's something that I've even had to tell my dad, because I asked my dad this question one time. I was like, do you think you put your wife before your kids, or do you put your kids before your wife? And he said that he would pick my mom. And I'm like, wrong. That's the wrong answer. The reason that's the wrong answer is because, I mean, my parents could get divorced tomorrow, God forbid. I'm always going to be his daughter. You know what I mean? That's never going to change. Even if we went no contact, that's still never going to change. I'm still biologically your child. My mom could go back to Panama and never speak to any of us again. Again, God forbid. But I'm still here at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's wrong. You brought me into this world. I did not ask to be here. It's your job to do what you need to do for me, not the other way around. Somebody else said, not the asshole. Sounds like he was always the one who was the asshole. My dad was also a hoe. And I had a stepmom who was mean as heck to me, but when I grew up, I got out of those angsty teen years. I just let it all go. I blamed myself for a lot of my own hurt and drama. I wasn't able to listen to her complain about my dad, though, being a hoe. I don't agree with cutting off the step-sibs. It was ridiculous to even suggest it, because you're an adult and any relationship you have is because you, not his. It's not his to decide who you care about. That's what I said. OP said, yeah, so my youngest half-sib was already born by the time he was dating the mother of my step-siblings. From my eldest step-sibling, apparently both the wife and my dad had stepped out of the relationship at least once over the last decade. Boy. Listen, if you're not happy in your relationship, don't get married. If you can't be faithful and can't keep it in your pants, don't get married. Also, wrap it up. Like, what are we doing? Practice safe sex, kids. Someone else said, you're not an asshole. You're an adult who has presumably established relationships of many kinds. You should personally decide what relationships you want to establish or maintain. You do you, and your father with your step sibling, then do so. There is no need to change your feelings or viewpoint because all of a sudden he's butthurt. Very true. Not the asshole. He never cared about your feelings when his wife treated you horribly. Why should you care about his now that he decided to leave? Facts. Not the asshole. He brought those people into your life and you developed relationships. If he wants to change his own relationships now, he can, but he doesn't get to tell you what to do with yours. If he has a problem with what you do on your own time, there's therapy for that. Yeah, so I definitely agree with all of that. At the end of the day, like, you made relationships based on the people that he had involved in your life. So he brought the stepmom into the situation. She brought kids into the house. So you developed relationships with your step siblings. That doesn't just vanish overnight. Like, if you were already in a place where you didn't get along with them or whatever, that would be one thing. For instance, you don't get along with your stepmom. You don't talk to her. Great. So I don't see the problem. If you already don't talk to the stepmom, that should be more than enough for the dad to be like, oh no, this needs to extend to the kids too. Like, you're just being vindictive and you're kind of throwing a tantrum at that point. Your choices, your actions, the reasons that you're getting a divorce, that's on you. Your kids are not a reflection of that, especially the ones that were forced into that marriage as well. You know, I mean, you made some decisions. Now you got to live with them. So OP, you are not the asshole in that. And so that is our Reddit episode for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. I just want to give you guys a reminder that I do have a Patreon available, link in the description. Guys, go check out my book. Also, link in the description. Is available at barnesandnoble.com, Amazon, Google Play, and a couple other different platforms if you wanted to go venturing out. Still not an Apple. Don't know what's going on with that. If I ever get an update on that, I'll let you know. They're giving me a hard time. Yeah, not because like uploading the book, just the legality of it. For whatever reason, they're giving me a hard time about the taxes. So that's why it's not up officially on Apple. Like it's like pending because they're like meh, 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 about the taxes. So yeah, go check out my book, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com. It's also available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, I know we got some stuff going on, how do I say, politically. So if you're not purchasing things on Amazon, you can purchase my book on barnesandnoble.com. But if you do have Kindle Unlimited still, it is available on Kindle Unlimited as well. So please go check that out. Check out my Patreon. I'm going to start uploading some more stuff to that. And if you guys have any topics that you want to hear discussed on the podcast, or there's someone you might want to hear from, just go ahead and feel free to reach out to me on social media. I'm available on Threads. I'll put the link in the description for that as well. You can follow me on Instagram, link in the description, all the links in the description. I did want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I have something in the works for a podcast episode. I don't have any promises, okay? I don't have any promises, but I might be bringing an ex onto the podcast. Maybe. I say maybe because I haven't officially asked them if they want to come on the podcast yet or not. I actually have two that I want to try to get on the podcast. The one that I'm working on right now is the guy who was like my first boyfriend ever. I actually just reached out to him recently, not that long ago. So we're going to get back in contact. He just messaged me back the other day. I haven't responded because I've been sick. But I'm going to see how he feels about it, if he'd be willing to come on the podcast and talk about what we were like in high school, all that good stuff. I have another one that I want to bring on the podcast. Maybe. I feel like he'd be open to it. I could see it. I could see it. We'll see how that one goes. But I'm trying to, the one I'm working on right now, fingers crossed, maybe. If not, I have to check the vibes. I have to see if, like, depending on how our conversation goes, if he'd be open to it. Otherwise, I'll probably just come on the podcast and I'll like tell you about how our conversation went, and we'll just have a conversation and I'll just like tell you about it, which wouldn't be as fun, but I'll go from there and see if I can get my other ex to come on the podcast and see what we can do about that. Ironically, he does listen to the podcast. So if you think it's you, you're probably right. So yeah, that's what I've got planned. Hopefully, I think you guys would really enjoy that. I think it would be like a really interesting discussion to have. I think you guys would get a real kick out of it, to be honest. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we can get that in the works. I've also got some other things planned. So please stay tuned for some new stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.